Hollow Pines, a town where secrets lingered like morning mist. The pines themselves seemed to whisper. They held the memories of those gone missing. Decades ago, people started vanishing. No trace, no explanation, just whispers. Then silence. The disappearances stopped as abruptly as they began. But the fear? It never left. Kayla had grown up on these stories, told around campfires, shared in hushed tones. They were more than just tales, they were warnings. Now, a new generation whispered of the disappearances. Kayla and her friends, Jake and Melissa, were drawn to the mystery. They craved the truth hidden beneath the years of fear. It started, as most bad decisions do, with a dare, a simple challenge that none of them could back down from. The old Blackwood house stood at the edge of town, shrouded in mystery and whispers, abandoned for decades, a breeding ground for rumours and ghost stories. They said it held a clue, a VHS tape, a recording of a strange broadcast, long forgotten, the last broadcast before the disappearances began, a chilling mystery that haunted the town. Jake, ever the skeptic, scoffed. "It's just a story, Kayla. A way to scare kids, nothing more." Melissa, always the voice of reason, hesitated. "Maybe we should just leave it alone. It's not worth the risk." But Kayla, her curiosity burning, had already made up her mind. "We have to know, don't we? We can't just walk away." That night, under the pale gaze of the moon, they broke in, hearts pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. The Blackwood house was a tomb, dust-covered furniture, cracked portraits staring down from the walls as if judging them. Every creak of the floorboard sent shivers down their spines, each sound amplifying their growing dread. They found it in the attic, hidden beneath floorboards. A dusty VHS tape, long forgotten and covered in cobwebs. A single, chilling label. "Channel 13 broadcast, do not watch." The words seemed to pulse with a sinister energy. The air grew heavy, charged with anticipation and dread. Every breath felt like a weight on their chests. The dare had become a pact, a solemn promise that none of them could back out of. They were in too deep now. There was no turning back, no matter how much fear gnawed at their insides. Back at Kayla's house, they huddled around the flickering screen of an old VCR. The room was silent, save for the hum of the machine. Fingers trembling, Kayla pressed play, static. Then, a flickering image, a news broadcast. But something was wrong, very wrong. The smiles were too wide, unnaturally wide, stretching across their faces like a grotesque mask. The eyes, too bright, empty. They seemed to pierce through the screen, staring into their very souls. The news report was interrupted by a special announcement, a missing person case. The tension in the room spiked. A young woman stared out at them, her eyes pleading, her face etched with desperation and fear. Then a voice, raspy and filled with terror. "Don't trust the broadcast!" The words echoed in their minds. "It remembers it." The screen went blank. Silence enveloped the room, leaving them with a sense of impending doom. Faces in the static. Silence hung heavy in the room, a silence so thick it felt almost tangible. The tape ejected with a click, breaking the oppressive quiet. No one spoke, the air thick with unspoken dread. They couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, a constant prickling at the back of their necks. That night, Kayla saw her. The figure was unmistakable, a shadowy presence in the corner of her room. The missing woman from the tape, her face pale and eyes hollow, staring back at Kayla. Standing at the foot of her bed, the figure seemed to pulse with a dark energy. Her lips moved, but Kayla heard only whispers. Whispers that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Whispers that sounded like static, blending with the hum of the old TV. The next day, Jake complained of headaches, blinding, splitting headaches that seemed to pierce his skull. Melissa kept seeing things in the corner of her eye, shadows that danced just out of sight, flickering shadows that vanished when she turned her head. The broadcast was relentless. It was starting to bleed into their world. Their safe, ordinary world was becoming a nightmare. They tried to destroy the tape, to break its hold, but it wouldn't burn. Wouldn't break, wouldn't erase. It was indestructible, It was as if the tape itself was alive, hungry, feeding on their fear and despair. And it was feeding on their fear, growing stronger with each passing moment. The broadcast remembers. Days turned into a blurry, terrifying nightmare. The line between reality and the static-filled world of the broadcast blurred. They were trapped. The faces from the tape were everywhere, whispering their names, reaching for them. The broadcast had them now. It wouldn't let go. Soon enough, they all disappeared without a trace, just like the news reports of 1987. The missing woman from the tape, she's here, watching me as I write this. She says it's almost time. Time for what? I don't know, but I can hear the static. It's calling to me, pulling me in. If you ever find a tape labelled Channel 13 Broadcast, do not watch. Remember this, don't watch it, don't even touch it. Walk away, forget you ever saw it, because the broadcast, it remembers, and it's waiting.